So I'm going to talk about this game as a whole, and then we'll just have a discussion if you want, and then we can chill. I think they did a great job with this game. I think that the best parts of this game were the animations, okay? The character visuals in the animations. So you're talking cutscenes, you're talking like kind of cutscenes, fighting scenes, you know, the bits that are kind of non-cutscenes, but they're in the beginning and middle of fights and stuff like that. All your cutscenes, all your animations, all your like character acting and voice acting, all the visuals is fucking top notch, right? For a PS4 game, man. If you look at some pieces of shit that get made for this fucking console, and the games we've played that are so shite, and you see the animations for this game, bear in mind that this is at the end of the PlayStation 4's life cycle, by the way, so they're pushing the hardware and shit to the limits, right? I think that all of that stuff, the animations, the graphics, the characters, are all top notch. There's some graphical errors with the PS4. Sometimes there's parts of the game like backgrounds and stuff like that. We talked about that. Textures, little things like if you walk past a bit of rubble and it doesn't appear and then it renders in or something. That's just limitations of the PS4. That's, to me, sounds like rushed things that they've kind of crowbarred in last minute when they've been developing the game, you know? The music, the remix of the music, I think is great. You've got your original soundtracks at really exciting times, and then you've got a lot of remixed ones as well, which I think is great. I love it. I didn't have a problem with that at all. Again, I don't need to have the purest kind of soundtrack. If you've got a new game with new action and new scenes, you want different soundtracks that kind of fit the mood and stuff. I thought that was all great. Really, really good. The music and the visuals are all fantastic, okay? The how the game runs is a boring topic, but it's still important to talk about. You know, like your HUD, like all this, like your start menu, your materia menu, your battle menu and stuff, it all really just works, okay? Sometimes I had issues with the materia menu. I think the materia menu could have had like better sort functionality, but other than that, it's a minor gripe. All of the HUD, all of your weapon menu, the new stuff they added in terms of the weapon growth system, where you can like level up different weapons, you can build certain characters in different ways. If you want Barrett to be a magic user, you can do that. If you want Tifa to be a magic user, you can do that. Really cool stuff, really good additions. It really flushed the game out and made it really good. Certain parts of this game I felt were longer than they needed to be, but I know why they did that. They were trying to give you your bang for buck. They were trying to make this a standalone game. And if it was too short, people would have rioted and complained. So they've added in some extra bits. Okay, first of all, they added in new scenes with certain characters. So you've got your whole Jessie arc where you go and visit Jessie's mum and dad. Really liked that. The whole bit where you go into like the Shinra underground lab with Barrett and stuff. That was kind of cool. Sometimes they added in parts, though, that were a little bit too long, in my opinion. There was bits where I was just in an area for far too long, and I was like, right, guys, you've basically made a huge hallway that takes an hour to get through. The Hojo lab in the Shinra building, at the end of it, maybe it was because I was playing it in one sitting, but like that went on for a long time. When you first go to Reactor 5, and you're climbing along the top, the walkways of Shinra, it went on for a long time. It got a bit tedious, okay? I'm sitting here playing the game in long periods, so maybe that's affecting my judgment. If I played it in little chunks, it might not feel as bad, okay? But they're trying to make it a long-ass game. They're trying to give you your value for money, and I respect that. I just feel like sometimes they kind of pushed in the wrong places. You know, some bits were a bit longer than I feel like they needed to be. The wandering around in the exploration was kind of cool. They tried to give you exploration in certain areas with like side quests and stuff. I kind of like doing the side quests, but there is literally just 12 side quests in the game, and none of the side quests are really that important. They're all just fucking dumb shit, you know, like trying to find Biggs or Wedge's cats and trying to find the children and trying to save the children. I mean, that's fine that they put it in. Again, it gives you something to do if you want to go and do that. We did everything, so that gave us a lot of like game time and stuff like that. It gives you XP and things. It was alright. It wasn't bad, but I don't know if that was like completely necessary. Some of it was a bit kind of shitty. When you're running around in the villages and I'm trying to explore, I got hit by a lot of barriers. I don't know if I like that. They're trying to streamline your playthrough for people who are dumbass and get lost all the time. You know, the PS1, sometimes it would just say to you, you need to go here, and then the text box would disappear and you get no more help from the game. So if you miss that text box telling you where to go, you're fucked if you get lost. In this game, because it's a modern game, they put barriers everywhere, you know. Aerith's like, come on, Cloud, let's go this way. And I see an alleyway that I want to go down and check. So I'm like, right, I want to go down there because there's materia at the end of it. So I start walking down it, and the barrier fucking stops me immediately. Big orange symbol saying, you cannot go this way. And Aerith's like, come on, Cloud, you're going the wrong way. Like, I don't know if I like that. It kind of kept you going in the right direction, but sometimes I wanted a bit more freedom, you know, to explore and kind of have a look around. If there's stuff there, fair enough to have a look for and stuff, but if there's nothing there, then maybe that's why they put it in. Not sure how I feel about that. Again, they could have had they could have had better moments, I think, with sometimes when you're running down the cities and that, like they've put the cities in for you to explore, but then there's not really much in the cities, you know? It's kind of like they've just created a little area and you run around it for a while, you find a potion here, you find a potion there, you find like a bangle or something, and you get excited and you're like, oh god, it paid off. That was all fine and dandy, I guess. My main gripe, and something I've moaned about the entire time I played this game, was the combat. Today and yesterday the combat felt a lot better than most of the game. In the beginning the combat felt quite good for me. I quite enjoyed just in the beginning the first reactor, the guard scorpion, and a little bit after. The combat I had no issues with. I thought it was fantastic. It seems like they've taken the classic Final Fantasy combat and they've merged it with like the newer games like Final Fantasy 15. I don't want to go on about this for too long, but I do feel like for a large part of this game the combat really frustrated me at times. The biggest gripe I have is the camera, okay? When you lock on an enemy, if the enemy fucking flies off screen, as a lot of the enemies do because they're really quick in this game, there's very little slow enemies. They're all really fast, okay? If you're fighting 5 enemies and you're locked onto one and it flies over there, the camera should turn, okay? That's the point of a lock on. Your camera should turn to find that enemy. So many times as Barret did I like queue an ability, and Barret, because of the non-lock target, he would just literally shoot off the side of the map and waste all of his ATB. That was frustrating, okay? The second thing about the combat that I think they could have done better is just reduce the amount of I keep saying crowd control, but like all these fucking annoying moves that hit you, that stop you and cancel what you're doing in the fights. I know it's a video game. I know they're trying to give you different challenges. Some people might disagree, and I think that's okay. The amount of things that stop you in your track with attacks that kind of stun you, you know, like a fireball hits you, it does damage, but then Cloud goes, ugh, and he stops what he's doing and he stands back and then he waits and then he comes back into the fight. Okay, so if you have like anything buffered, it stuns you. That's not including sleeps, things that put you to sleep for like 20 seconds, and while you're asleep you can just get constantly hit, okay? Stuns, things that actually you roll into a stun and then you're like, and then you stand still for like 20 seconds. Things like frog. It's kind of comedy, like I'm glad they kind of put that in, but when you throw all this together constantly, fight after fight after fight, it gets quite frustrating, and I don't feel like it needed to be that way. It doesn't add challenge. The only thing we died to in this game were 2 bandit fights early on in the slums next to the wall market, and then also against the fucking robot patrol tank thing at the end on the highway. That's the only things we died to. Every other boss was easy enough. We never had to grind in this game. We literally just waltzed through it. All the bosses were fine. The Leviathan fight was actually quite a difficult summon, but then we were also playing Barret with a fucking wrecking ball weapon, which was a bit memey. But sometimes I just feel like the combat didn't have to be as chaotic as it was. It didn't feel relaxing to play. It requires constant focus. The old Final Fantasy VII is a relaxing game to play. You need to kind of pay attention to what you're doing, and you will die if you take your eye off the game for 30 seconds. But I felt like in this game, sometimes the combat felt really, really empowering. You felt really, really awesome, right? When Tifa unlocks her ability where she does what's it called? I forgot. But you know the one where you push, I had it hotkey to L1 and X. You know where she like flies across the screen and goes dush, 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 dush. That was so fucking sick. The first time I saw that, dude, I nearly jizzed. It was actually great, okay? Some of Cloud's animations, Barrett's animations, they're all fantastic stuff, right? All the animations are glorious. When you see Aerith doing her spells where she does the blast, where she like hovers up as she like gets more power, that's so fucking good. You've done a great job with that. I just wish that all of the enemies that you fight against, boss fights are totally different, by the way. I just wish the regular enemies didn't have as much things to stop you in your tracks. That got quite frustrating for me, and I don't think it needed to be that way. It just literally made the fights feel a bit jittery. You're Cloud, you're this first-class soldier. You can dodge and roll all over the place, but sometimes the dodging didn't even matter. You would evade, something would hit you. It would knock you up in the air. Sometimes when you're trying to get back up, it would knock you in the air again. Sometimes if you're blocking, it would hit your block and you get knocked down anyway, and it's like, holy, you know, I had gripes with the combat. It does not overshadow how good I think this game is. I think it is definitely worth the money, unlike some other games we've played recently. I think this game is worth a bang for its buck. People have said online that they think this game is like a really good kind of standalone RPG. I kind of disagree with that. The game is top notch for what it is. If you buy a random Japanese game about people who do magic and run around and try to save the world, you're not going to get this level of quality, obviously. But I think people who have played the original Final Fantasy, who have watched Advent Children, who have played Crisis Core, all these people are going to get so much more value from this game than people who are picking this up fresh. If you have never played a Final Fantasy VII game before and you pick this game up, I think you can have fun with it, but it's not going to be as good for you as people who have played it before. So the people online that are saying that this is a good standalone RPG, I don't know if that's completely true. This game does not do a very good job of like, well, first of all, Final Fantasy VII is quite convoluted in and of its own regard, but the remake does quite a good job of kind of carrying you along with the story and explaining everything to you. So it's not like it did that bad. It's just that the premise and everything that is going on in the game takes a bit of kind of prior understanding to fully understand and appreciate what's going on, I think. Maybe some people would disagree and that's alright, but yeah. Really good job. Really, really excited for part 2. Minor gripes with some of the mechanics of the game, but other than that, I think it was great. I think I could see myself playing this again by myself in the future, which is something that, you know, sometimes when we finish streaming a game, I can't wait to get rid of it. I'm like, fuck this, I am never ever going to look at this again. Sometimes I say to you guys, yeah guys, it was great, and you know, I might play it again, but I have no intention of playing it. This is a game I could play again in the future. I want to play more. I'm glad that we've come to the end of the stream tonight, and that, you know, we've kind of left it in a good spot. But I also would like to play more of it. You know, I wish we were leaving Midgar tomorrow and we were starting tomorrow's stream, going out into the plains and out into the world, and we're gonna have to wait. And if I have that feeling that I want to play more, it means that I enjoyed it. So, did you finish Aztec? We did indeed, yeah. Does it have a New Game Plus, says Paul? It has this thing here, chapter selection. It has chapter selection, which I think you can go back and replay certain areas if you want to. Obviously, we've got some kind of quick remarks to make, guys, about like what's going to happen with this when you play the second part of it, right? I would assume, and I have always assumed from the beginning, that when you finish this game, you take your characters from your first part. Let's say in 3 years' time, they bring out Final Fantasy Part 2, right? And you buy it. I would assume that it would import your save file into the new game. How the fuck they're going to do that, though, I have no idea, because the PS5 comes out soon, and I think this game is going to carry across from the I think it'll carry across onto the PS5. The next game will come out in the PS5. It might come out in the PS4 too, but then how does that work with your save file? How does that work with all your characters? If people go back and grind the fucking shit out of Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, and Aerith, get them to like level fucking 70 or something, and then they go into part 2 of the remake with their save file, with all of their stuff saved up. Maybe they've got unlimited gil, maybe they've got like 1 million potions. How is that going to affect their next part of the journey? I don't think that they're going to give you part 2 and say, right, start from 0 again. They might, but I hope they don't. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But yeah, pretty crazy. There was a lot of new characters added to this game that flushed the game out as well. Obviously, there was the Jesse side story, but you know the guys in the Honeybee Inn, like Madam M, Chocobo Sam, and the other guy, I forgot his name, but he's the dancer in the Honeybee Inn. Those guys were all great. The cutscenes there were all fantastic, and I really liked the new characters. They kind of added a bit more flavour to the, you know, what could have been a really bland area. You've also got the mad guy on the motorbike who appears and chases Cloud down the highway. Just fucking appears and then never is seen again. Just a random soldier. It was really insane cutscenes, but I'm like, I don't know. I think they were good additions, even if they were a bit wild. They're letting you go back to chapter select to make different choices, etc. So don't know how they can move your save over. Yeah, I don't know. I really would think that it's a bit fucked up if they bring out the second part and they make you start all your characters from like a flat point. Maybe they just give everybody a blank slate where their Barrett, their Cloud, and their Tifa are all level 40, and they just say, hey, here's your characters. But then all of your materia that you've worked hard to grind up, how the fuck's that going to work? How do they know what materia you're going to have in this save file? If you've missed a bunch of materia, are you just going to get given it for free anyway at the start of the next game? Are you going to have it all taken away and you're going to have to build it back up again anyway? I feel like you should be rewarded for trying hard to find materia in this game in the next part. If they bring out part 2, I feel like you should be able to take your characters and your materia and all your items, all your weapons into the next save. But maybe they won't. I don't know what's going to happen. I think the level 40 thing too. It's really weird, man. Because if they do that, if they break it up into sections, I feel like it's unfair, because you've got an RPG journey here. What's the point of an RPG? You build your characters up, you find secret weapons that other people don't find, you pick a strategy that you like to use, you pick spells you like to use, and then you play it how you like to play it. But like, how are they going to bring out part 2 and make you start from scratch again? It's like, imagine halfway through Pokemon, you get to the Pokemon League and they're like, right, you're going to have to start again from the beginning. You know, we brought out this like extra part, you're going to have to start again from the beginning. You know, in the same journey, obviously different Pokemon games always start from the beginning when you buy a new Pokemon game, but if it was like a continuous journey to make you like start fresh from like a certain point halfway through, would be like robbing you of all your choices and all your Pokemon and all your team and all your efforts and all your grinding. So I don't know what they're going to do, but it's quite exciting to theorycraft. Maybe they'll bring out some more news on that. Maybe, I think all these questions will be getting spammed at the directors of Final Fantasy, and maybe they'll come out and explain it a little bit better in the future, so we might get more news on that regard. But fucking wild, guys. Absolutely wild. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that, man. I hope you guys did as well. We had some up and down moments with this playthrough for sure, but overall, I want you guys to know that I really, really did enjoy this game, and I thought it was a blast. I loved the journey, probably first and foremost. I think the journey was a lot more fun than the actual gameplay. Again, maybe that's because I'm nostalgia tainted goggles or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. As for the change in timelines, I mean, that's just fucking throws the whole thing up in the air. But I think it's good. I think it's good. People will get really angry about that, really upset. They'll freak out. They'll freak the fuck out. They'll be like, "Why are you changing our game? It was fine the way it was." That's okay for those people to be mad. I get where they're coming from. But now I am going into the next part of a Final Fantasy journey that I've never played before with my characters, and I don't know what's going to happen. And that's really, really cool, because I never thought I was going to have that again ever in my life. You know? That's actually really, really exciting.